8:30 this morning with Alex Adams. She's working her cute little, what is that, a red roan mare or blue roan mare?
Blue.
Blue roan mare. So, and now we have our first panel of the day, which is the BLM and Mustangs. And we have Kevin, Lene, and Matt. Matt is with the Mustang Champions, and Lene and Kevin are with the BLM, Bureau of Land Management. And they're going to do a nice conversation today about the topic and issues. So we're going to let the experts speak.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So I guess we'll start out with, this was about BLM programs and partnerships. So I guess we'll start out with, our partnerships and our programs that we have in BLM. And of course, one of our biggest programs we have in BLM is our adoption program and our adoption incentive program that we have going, where these horses are adopted, and then our adoption incentive program that we have to help incentivize those horses for adoption, and to help the people who want to adopt those horses have a little bit of cash at the end of the year when they go to title, to help with training or food from last year in terms of hay, and any of those additional expenses that come with adopting a Mustang. On top of that, we have our Sales Authority program, which is for horses that are over 10 years of age. And those horses are not available for the Adoption Incentive Program. Those horses normally go into private ownership immediately upon sale, and we have that program also. And then our big program we have that we go over are partnerships. Matt here with Mustang Challenge is one of our partners, our big partners. We have a great kiosk here. I'm going to let him take that and talk a little bit about our program there and our partnership. Yeah.
So we are a new nonprofit called Mustang Champions, and a year ago received a grant from the government to develop two programs. One of the programs is an education program. Many Americans don't even know that they own horses. If you pay taxes to the government, you own horses in America, and you own a lot of horses in America, from my experience of having seen many horses on the range. But we have developed an educational kiosk with a virtual reality experience where you can stand with horses in the wild. We also have information panels to try to get current facts and stats in front of the public. We have 5 kiosks that we're shipping to various events across the United States to really help Americans understand the situation of the range, better understand what it takes to manage wild horses on the range, and what some of the solutions are that to help maintain the quality of the range by removing excess horses, too many horses on the range currently, to get them into holding and then find ways to get them adopted out or purchased out.
Yeah, and you want to talk about rangeland health and why we're doing removals and
Sure. You look at our resources out on the range, and you can think of it as like a pie, and you have lots of uses that require the land to be able to exist. There's the watershed, there's the wild horses, there's big game, there's recreation, there's the energy development, and all those resources affect that pie, and the wild horses are a big part of that. And their range that they require to be able to be healthy has to also be healthy. And when you get too many horses, then that affects the healthiness of the range. And even when we remove those excess horses and get down to the number where we need to be managing, it can still have a lasting effect on the range. There's a lag time for the range to be able to recover after that.
And so that's where, we also bring in part of another BLM program is our fertility control program and our darting program on that. And so through some of our populations, and especially on specific HMAs, and trying to develop more fertility control within BLM, the more horses that we can apply that fertility control to, we can get down to AML, the less horses we actually have to take off the range, because that range can support those in our multiple use mission that BLM has, because we're not a single use agency. And all of that together really brings, for healthy rangelands for healthy horses, and that's a really important part. So we have a lot of that going on too. You want to add anything to that?
You can look at, the fertility control as one of the great tools we have in our toolbox to be able to manage the population. And it's true that we will have to remove fewer horses if we're able to do a better job at the fertility control. And we do have a lot of success stories where the fertility control is helping us either manage the entire population, or we're extending the gather cycle from where it could have been 4 years in the past, and now we're 7 to 10 years because we have a lot lower percentage of reproducing animals out on the range, and that's beneficial to the range. There's beneficial to the horses. They're healthier. It's beneficial to the taxpayer because that's fewer horses that we have to remove and maintain. So everything we can use to help that is beneficial.
Yeah, and then so when we bring those horses off and we manage our appropriate management levels, we definitely see an improvement in our range condition over time. And with that, when those horses come off, we greatly need our partners to help with the placement of those horses and our adoption events, like the Equus Film Fest that we're here today and here this weekend with our 6 yearlings that we have out there for the Mustangers that are working those. They will be up for adoption on Sunday at 3 through a silent auction. And then we still have partners, like what Mustang Challenge is doing with their events.
So the other part of our grant is to produce 2 new national Mustang competitions. First is our Western Discipline competition. It's going to be in Las Vegas at South Point Arena this July 11 through 13. It's called the Mustang Challenge. As of yesterday, if you're interested in competing with a Mustang, and you better hurry and get your Mustang by April 1, you can now go online and enter to compete. And you do not need to be the owner or adopter to be the exhibitor, and you can exhibit up to 2 horses. And it's a $50,000 top prize. So we're really trying to elevate with both of our competitions, elevate the venue, elevate that people have more time to train. So we're really showcasing Mustangs at their best. Our other competition is a English discipline competition. It is the first ever of its kind. It's going to be at the Kentucky Horse Park in Rolex Stadium, which is a very high-profile arena. International competitions are there. It is a venue for Olympic trial this year. So very excited to see some Mustangs in Rolex Stadium. That is going to be in September 13 through 15. You need to get your Mustang adopted by May 1st, and we will have entry later in the year available. So get your Mustang, come compete in both. There are people that are experienced Mustang trainers, and either they're going to ride the same horse in both competitions, or some people have one exhibitor exhibiting English and one exhibitor showing Western. So it's going to be really interesting to see how people approach these competitions. And at the moment, I think we have over 150 Mustangs registered. But from what I've been seeing on Facebook, there are a lot more horses out there that are potential contenders. So we are very excited about this first year, these first 2 competitions for our new organization. And please come. Tickets are now available on sale for Las Vegas. Come watch the competition, and if it's not this year, come compete next year and help us get more Mustangs out of holding to support the Wild Horse and Burro program.
Yeah, I think the competitions goes hand in hand with your education, because it gets the word out there. People, especially, the locations, the venues that you have, that it's going to be a lot of new people that don't have any previous experience with the wild horses. It'll be eye-opening to a lot of them to see, but some of them may have never heard or even seen a wild horse, and to be able to experience the training and the ability of the wild horses, all the things that these trainers can do with the horses. I think it's really going to be eye-opening and really get the word out there. And you're in both sides of the country, so and that's a great opportunity.
Well, and I think people kind of stereotype Mustang sometimes as more appropriate for Western discipline or versus English riding. And it's, I think, especially for the eventing community, it's becoming much more popular to have a Mustang underneath you as you compete. Another thing that I really hope for these competitions is people will take this on as kind of a philanthropy. So where I might normally show hunter and jumper, or normally show eventing, or normally be a reiner or a cutter, come get a Mustang, put one Mustang in your show barn. I know show barns to have school horses. Why not have one Mustang in your group of school horses? Kids will love it. It's basically the size of a pony. So in the English world, there are pony classes. So there are a lot of opportunities to get a Mustang, 4-H, FFA. There are competitions where they're incredibly appropriate. And we are hoping in the future to have more and more youth programs.
Pony Club.
Pony Club is a great example. There will be a youth competition during our Mustang Classic in Kentucky. It will be at the same time frame. So if you are a youth competitor and interested in coming to Kentucky with a yearling and competing, look into that and contact us if you need more information about how to get involved.
Yeah, that's a lot, and just to put some things in perspective, 150 animals off the range and in competition and in people's hands, and the number that BLM adopts, it actually saves the American taxpayer, approximately $23,000 for the life of that horse, which is hugely important, and these horses have good homes. And the versatility that you were just talking about, that most people don't, even quarter horse people, thoroughbred people, really don't understand the versatility of the Mustang, and I think it's just a great thing that you guys are doing to bring that forward. Other partners we have, Kevin has, several partners in Idaho that are more local partners that we have. We have, our partnerships that are associated with local HMAs, herd management areas in every state that we have. We have local Mustang shows, that these groups put on, which I think is really good. And then the state of Colorado has a really unique partnership, BLM, with the state, and working with that, with the new bill that was passed last year. So, have to give a little bit of kudos to the state for picking up on that, and definitely for some collective learning that's going on there. Some additional funding for population growth, suppression, and some range improvement maintenance. So, we've got, I think, every level of partnerships, from the state to our local partners to our national partners, and I think that's really big.
Something I've learned about the Mustang community is how passionate everybody is that's involved, from everyone at the Wild Horse and Burro program to everyone that has ever competed to anyone that's ever worked with a Mustang at any level. We're a group of very passionate people, and whatever your point of view is, bring it, because the Mustangs need all of our attention and all of our passion.
Absolutely. Everybody that works with the wild horses they're all passionate, and they all love what they're doing. I mean, it becomes a lifestyle, and it gets in everybody's blood to want to work with the wild horses and keep working with them. And when we bring the youth in, we get them for a lifetime. And so having the youth programs are great, and and that really shows, the ability of a wild horse to be trained when you have a youth working with them and the amazing things that they can train these horses to do.
Well, in working with a domestic horse versus a Mustang, Mustangs bond with you very differently. It's a little hard for me to explain personally, but it is just a different experience.
Yeah, and when you grow up in the wild and everything's ready to eat you, you look at things different than growing up in a paddock or a pasture, and so their brains are different, and they've have hundreds of years of natural selection that's programmed them to think that way, because they have to survive in the wild.
Which I guess that could bring us to some of our numbers from 2023. So, with the gathers that we've had and stuff, we've actually gone down in our herd size to approximately around 80,000 horses now on the range, and that was our estimated herd size from 2013 to 2023. We do have additional gathers going on this year, so we will have additional horses, in the pipeline for the adoptions and everything, to work on that land health by removing some of those horses and working with our partners to get where we need to be, to get those horses in good hands and good homes, and to help our range out. Okay. So we'll go over we have some stats about our gathers, and I know this is one thing that people really hit on, and it's our safety during gathers, and it does remain one of BLM's top priorities for the safety, not only for the horses that we are gathering, but for the people who are also participating in those gathers and gathering those horses. And there was a paper in the Journal of Equine Veterinary Science by Sakasta that actually you can look at that supports everything that we've done. And he looked at our gathers over a large area of years. And BLM is actually around that 1% death loss, in our gathers. Not all due to gather operations, but some, and that is actually lower than our wildlife people and partners who are actually looking at the wildlife, trapping wildlife.
Yeah, for example, like your Fish and Game,
Yes.
when they're relocating bighorn sheep or moose or
Yep.
something like that, our statistically have a much lower death loss than what they have, and it's very low considering these are very large wild animals that.
Well, and sometimes the animals come into a gather and they have some kind of illness or defect, right? So there might be a number that sounds like it's a death from the gather, but it's really something that's naturally occurring and the animal's in trouble, correct?
Sure, yeah. There's animals that come in with pre-existing conditions. You have an animal that comes in that has a broken leg and has very poor body condition, and it's just humane for that horse to put it down instead of having it live in that miserable, in pain condition. So there are a number of animals that come in that way.
But to me, that's part of how you care for these animals and trying to protect them. It's just another example of that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have that attrition on the range. That happens. When a horse comes in really poor and they have a broken leg, you know that more than likely was not due to gather operations. It wasn't visualized on the range. It didn't happen right there. When we look at this article and stuff, gather operations are 1% or less of our death loss out there during gathers, which I think is really remarkable. We've enacted our comprehensive animal welfare program. We take that very seriously on the range, in hauling and transport and everything we do. So from that standpoint, I think everybody's passionate. It's like you said, and BLM is also, and all of our employees. So we do take it very seriously.
And I would just kind of expound on that, the trainers and the people that work with the wild horses are very passionate, but so are the BLM folks that work in the wild horse program. We donate a lot of hours, we work a lot of weekends, and it's because we love the wild horses. And, we want to see them succeed and have the program succeed.
Yeah, which is great. While we're here for, the Equus Film Fest, it's why we have all our partnerships, with Mustang's Challenge.
Spread the word.
And everybody else. And, I can't name all of our partners, but we do have a few new partners this year, with Colorado State University, High Desert Strategies, Mustang Champions, Peonce Mustangs from the state of Colorado, So there's a lot of them out there that are new NOFOs this year, which is our grants that we're working with our partners with. And I can't remember all the other ones from the past, and can't name them all, but BLM is very grateful to them and really appreciative of our partners, and we really hope to culminate those relationships into the future. So
I would just like to invite everybody to get more educated, come get involved, get engaged, support the Wild Horse Burro program, come join us in our education exhibits or a competition, but come get involved.
boom. I think we're good.